T-Wolves and Nuggets, the second game of doubleheader, huge. If the Nuggets lose this, it'll just about end the season. Why? Because the T-Wolves are 2-0 against them this year. These teams also play in Minnesota on the final day of the regular season next Wednesday, which could probably decide it here, especially if the Nuggets win, and they are 4.5 at home and 223.5 the total. You look at the standings. Look at this. After they were 9 games under 500, Utah's now the 4 seed, 45-33. The Spurs lose again on the road in overtime against the Lakers. They're tied with OKC. And then I've never seen this before, Teddy. There's 6 days left. 34 losses, 34. New Orleans has a tough schedule. They play Phoenix Friday, and then it's 3 hard games to close out. Denver's a game back. Then you got the Clippers 2 games back, and they're 7-point dogs in Utah tonight. So big meetings here, and the T-Wolves also have a back-to-back tomorrow against the Lakers, but this is a horror show. NBA defense the last 10 games, points per 100. 2 worst in the league here. Minnesota and Denver both giving up 112.7. And slightly worse when the rebounding is done as well with the T-Wolves. I mean, I don't know what to say. This isn't supposed to happen with a Thibodeau coach team, but they're 8-8 since Butler went out. But they've also had an easy schedule too. Remember, they lost at home to Memphis. Earlier, they lost against Atlanta. And when they've gone up against playoff teams, they've been getting their asses kicked.
Yeah, they sure have. It hasn't even been close. When you look at their last 9 ball games, they played 4 games against playoff teams. 0-4 straight up, 0-4 against the spread, average loss by more than 15 points per game. Now, you're right. They barely beat the bottom feeders. They beat the Mavs by 1. They beat the Knicks by 4. They lost outright at home to Memphis. They were 13.5 point chalk in that game. But from a situation... What's that?
I was going to say, I mean, imagine if they missed the playoffs because they couldn't beat Memphis at home. It's terrible.
Yeah, sure. No doubt. But it's a spot now where they have had 3 consecutive days off after that really bad home loss. Where they lose 121-97 to Utah. You know, Coach Tibbs. It's hard to win if you don't play defense. It's about competition, competing on every play. We always talk about the 2 things that are the execution and the intensity. So what we did tonight wasn't good enough. Well, not even close. Yeah, you're not kidding. You lost by 24 at home to the Jazz. So, we're wondering, is it going to be Jimmy Butler to the rescue for Minnesota? The official word tonight is questionable. I remember he got hurt the first game after the All-Star break, but I was reading more this morning. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to go yet. And again, they play at the Lakers on Friday. Probably him and Jeff Teague looking to get back in the lineup perhaps Monday at home against Memphis. There's a chance Butler might play tonight, but in the meantime, right now, Minnesota, as you showed in that graphic earlier, playing as bad defensively as any team in the NBA.
Yeah, totally bonkos. They could get the 4 seed or miss the playoffs entirely. And you got to give full marks to the Nuggets, who won at OKC in overtime and then beat the Bucks in overtime and then blew a big lead, but hung on and beat Indiana by 3 as well. So they survived that brutal 7-game road trip. And here they are. If they can sweep Minnesota, they're going to make the playoffs. And they've been doing it without Gary Harris as well. But the Joker's been huge. Jokic, last 9 games, 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. And that leads the team. He's made 32 of his last 63 3-point shots as well. And here's Malone, the coach, on Joker. Quote, if you look at his numbers right now, the numbers are a joke. Break down his numbers, scoring, rebounding, playmaking, the efficiency in which he's doing. I look forward to coaching him for a long, long time. But as we've talked about here when we're discussing the Nuggets the last week and a half on Sports Bit, nothing from the bench. And you think, Murray and these guys are going to run out of gas, though, Teddy, with those overtime games.
Yeah, they've certainly been playing intense contests, one after the next after the next. The rally from, what were they down, 18 against Milwaukee in the 4th quarter to steal that game and almost cover in overtime. I mean, it is a team that's been playing with fire. I worry about their energy level. I really do down the stretch, especially when you look at this graphic, when you talk about the team scoring. This is the first 2 games of the homestand. Yeah, without Gary Harris, it forces another key contributor into the starting lineup, which means they're getting basically nothing from the bench right now. Against Milwaukee, the starter scored 106, the bench 22. Against Indiana, it was a 92-15 breakdown for Denver to win and cover tonight They're going to need to get more from their bench than they've been getting. I'm not in any rush to lay points with the Nuggets in this quote-unquote must-win spot.
Oh, yeah.
Like the show? Help us keep the lights on. Please make sure to comment, share, and subscribe to all the Sportsbook Review videos. Thanks so much. Best of luck. Enjoy the game.